course, it is to the hour of 9, that indicating that Johnny Conja is here with the latest in the world of sport. Of course, just to reflect on the weekend that was. John, very good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. How are you doing, Ndeshishi?
I'm not so sure it's a very good morning for us Manchester United fans. I'm going to bury my head under the ground, under the sand for the remainder of this week.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a very long week, John.
Yeah.
First and foremost, 7-0 against Liverpool. I don't know, man.
Wow, it was a really difficult one. Somebody actually greeted me this morning, and then, I ended up saying, I'm doing 7-tastic this morning.
You know what they're calling Eric Ten Hag now? Apparently Eric 7 Hag.
Oh, wow. So you removed the 3 from the 10.
Bro, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I must give kudos to Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp and his Liverpool boys. I think every single time since he's joined Liverpool, we've always had a struggle.
Yeah.
And I can, of course, acknowledge defeat where it comes. It's just been a struggle to overcome them. I remember not too long ago, they beat us some 5-0 at Old Trafford, imagine. So I don't know, man. I think Jurgen Klopp, I think somebody asked Jurgen Klopp when he joined Liverpool if he had an opportunity to curse one team, and I think he chose Manchester United.
He chose Manchester United, yeah, I remember as well.
But anyway, what's happening in the world of sport, John?
Well, a lot happened, of course, in the world of sport, but we're going to start with rugby, rather. Of course, we saw the Velvichers post a pre-season match by 81-8 to the 2022 Currie Cup champions, the Pumas, this weekend. In more news, the much-awaited title fight between Namibia Philippus, better known as Energy Ngitumbwa, and the unbeaten Luke Boyd from Australia has been postponed after the Australian boxer sustained an injury on Saturday. And the St. Paul College hosted the 2023 Chess National School Championship on Saturday in the capital, and over 20 schools from all 14 regions participated. Looking at news from beyond our borders, Alex de Munier actually has claimed the biggest single titles of his career at the Mexican Opens after defeating American Tommy Paul, that is with 3-6, 6-4, 6-1. And looking at basketball, James Harden's vintage performance powers Philadelphia Sixers to end the Bucks' 16-game winning streak with a 133-130 victory. Elsewhere, Fred VanVleet actually was the star of the Toronto Raptors, who beat the Washington Wizards by 116-109. And of course, looking at weekend from football side, Liverpool thrashed Manchester United 7-0 at Anfield in perhaps the most epic Premier League drubbing of them all. Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez and Mohamed Salah scored 2 goals each, and an extraordinary performance by Jurgen Klopp's side before Roberto Firmino added the 7th as United capitulated amid some of those games they just saw over the weekend. Now let's take a look at some of the results from the Dipmarine Premiership that took over the weekend. Those, of course, were some of the results from the Namibian Dipmarine Premiership League. If we just took a look at the table now, starting with the first results there, we saw African Stars still picking up points from the weekend, now coming in hard with 45 points still. Blue Waters just almost 10 points below them with 31 points in the second position. Leonam coming in at third with 30 points, and in the fourth position is Mighty Gunners there with 28 points. Okanja United also picked up a few points, but it wasn't the best points that they actually got this weekend. But they are coming in at the fifth position with 27 points there. And in seventh position, you get it, Deshishi, 7, not just to mention a few. Of course, Turamenje coming in at 7. Turamenje coming in at 7th position with 26 points. Wasn't also a very good weekend for them, although they won both 2 games. Orlando Pirates coming in at 8th position, actually just moved up with 24 points. And Tigers also won some of the games this weekend as well, and now they're coming in at 9th position with 22 points. Black Africa wasn't a very good weekend for them, although they also won one game. But then that's the bottom half of the Marine Premiership League.
Firstly, I don't know what's going on with Black Africa. I've really been hopeful that, they'll turn things around, but it's just not happening. When you go back to the first half, the top half of the log, just looking at African Stars just totally dominating, the league so far. 14 games, 14 wins so far. 3 draws, 0 losses, John, standing at 45 points.
Absolutely.
I think if anybody catches up to African Stars, it's really for them to lose at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, even more so, one of the last games that they just played, I mean, they are playing quite a good, having a good season so far. Looking at how they've played the last game that was yesterday, winning by 1-0 wasn't really expected. But you're wondering now if if they continue winning those small margins by 1-0 or even getting as close as a draw.
Hey, sometimes 1-0 is enough, hey?
Yeah, it is enough, but then it's becoming dangerous now, and I think Blowwaters being in second position, FCC, they are getting quite confident, even though they've lost 4 matches. I think they really are going to try and work so hard to see if they can just reach those points to come close to African Stars.
Very much.
Of course, there's still a lot of games in hand.
Yeah, I see the log is quite tight. When you take African Stars out of the equation, you look at your hometown United, Kahanja United FC. Of course, trying to stay in the loop of things there as well. Just 4 points off of Blue Waters. Just how looking at Kahanja FC, how confident are they that they'll finish strong this season?
I see them finishing in the at least top half of the table. Unfortunately, we did see them just where Unam is right now. And when the season was in the first few games of the season, they were at 3rd position, and then they just started dropping points off to the 5th position, and then also almost I actually saw them in the second half of the table. But now they think I'm hopeful that they can at least finish in the top half, at least now with some of the games that they're winning. 7 games won. I think the biggest drawback for them is the draws. They have 6 draws, and it's kind of really difficult for them to keep up. So I think they're going to have to work really hard if they really are going to want to stay in the first 5.
Very much.
For top 5,
throwing away too many 2-pointers, eh?
Absolutely.
John, I know you have a couple of questions for me regarding the Manchester United Liverpool match.
A lot.
Please go ahead.
I think if you take a look at some of the visuals, I think that we'll be seeing now on our screens, Manchester United's match. What a really interesting one it was. I mean, there you have it. That was some of the celebrations there by Mo Salah, and just seeing how the team and all the Anfield, everything was just going crazy. It was really interesting indeed. But I think for the most part, when Liverpool got the confidence, just when those first 3 goals came in, and then I think they just had it all. Their minds were sharp, and then it just kept the goals coming.
Honestly, they were the better team, John, on any given day. The Manchester United that stepped out, of the tunnels yesterday is not the team that we've seen in the past, few weeks since the World Cup, ended. Marcus Rashford, the entire defense, the midfield, Bruno Fernandes just looking off game. I have no excuse, John, this morning. Liverpool was simply the better team. When you look at that, they're all over us.
Absolutely.
The pressure they were applying, Look at how many players are up front there, moving together, falling back together. I think that was just Jurgen Klopp at his brilliant best, and of course just proving that Liverpool are still a force to be reckoned with. They are in position number 5 now, just a point or 2, I think, behind Newcastle. So definitely Liverpool are not out of this race. There's still about 13, 14 matches to go till the end of the season.
And I think this is a good confidence booster for them. And I think from now on, in the next few matches, I don't think they have quite big opponents that they're going to be playing with. So I think that's going to be quite a very interesting advantage. But I just want to point out Tony Guapo's performance. I think that he was really one of my star players for that match, because I think as young as he is, he really did push the team. He really did push the team. That was Darwin Núñez's second goal.
He had a wonderful game as well. He had a very wonderful game indeed as well. John, I know your team personally, Chelsea recorded their first victory in 10 games. I know it is a bit late, but better late than never, they say.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it wasn't even really peaceful to even watch that match, if you ask me. But at least it's a good win, and I think if you ask me from a personal supporter's point of view, I think there really need to be a lot of changes there by the managerial position, because I think the team is really doing well. In terms of signings.
I don't think Graham Potter is necessarily a bad coach. I think when you come to a club that just gone through an ownership transition.
Absolutely,
you've bought so many players, to the tune of 680 million pounds, euros. I think, at some point you need to allow the coach, the team, to really set in and gel. And you see glimpses of that when Chelsea take to the pitch, They just come together really well, when you look at Mudryk, when you look at, Havertz in front there, João Felix is really comfortable of late. I think, with given a few more games and perhaps next season in the, broader picture, I think Chelsea could really be a force to be reckoned with. Look at those chances they're creating.
Absolutely.
I think, like very dangerous here.
I think the biggest vision that Chelsea has now is just for next season. I think right now it's just for them to try and build themselves up and really trying to get together and then
welcome to building, my brother. We've been building. It's not an easy process.
Of course, eh? At least not 7 times a week.
John, we'll be back. We'll be back after this weekend. Manchester United, we still have 3 competitions to chase.
Absolutely.
I can confidently say that, the FA Cup, the Europa League, the Premier League, I like to believe that we're still in the race. It's not over. Yep. Although Arsenal are playing fantastic football. Look at that comeback against Bournemouth. Who would have thought? I mean, 2 goals down to eventually end up winning, 3-2. Arsenal are playing absolutely beautiful football. I'm happy for where the Premier League is, both locally and internationally. Absolutely, we're seeing some really amazing football.
Absolutely. And I think towards the end of the week, we obviously are going to share more fixtures on Friday to see what exactly we can expect from the English Premier League side. And of course, just from, all the other sporting activities in the country. So I think it's going to be quite interesting one to look at. Absolutely, John. Of course, that also brings us to the end of the show this morning. You can expect more sports development. That's Monday and Fridays, as John Ekonja, of course, gives us a pre and post and understanding, of what the world of sport entails. John, thank you so much for being here. I wish your team personally all the best, for the remainder of the season. I know it's going to be a long week for us Manchester United fans, but we have to be strong. Let's hang in there, and it's definitely not over yet.